disapproved, you know, reach out to them or our office, because there should be an explanation on why the cert's being rejected. Otherwise, you'd be up, you know, you have no idea what's wrong with it. So if this is blank, make sure to reach out to somebody for them to start populating it. As far as the description of the certification that you upload, this can be used to your advantage. If you have a large project, it'll help if you clearly label what you're certifying. You know, if you put the manufacturer, what you're actually certifying, that'll help. So if you bid a structure project, you bid it before it's all combined together as lump sum. A valuable tool may be to say that this reinforcing steel is going to structure A, B, C, or so on, and what it's actually being certified for. So you'll see duplicates when you get them, or you'll be able to follow your own certification uploading as you go. You know, you can use this as your tool more than anything. So, Ken, do you have any suggestions on the description of the certifications?
No, not really.
No, sorry, what was that?
Just try to use what it's called for in the plans. So this is good enough. What you got here is the J51 anchoring epoxy, because you know that way we can go back to the bridge sheets, to those general notes, and see if that was one that was approved or not.
I can tell you a cert's not going to get rejected for a description that is vague, but the more thorough you are, the quicker they'll be able to accept it, you know, without looking into the document as close. So, and also it'll be to your benefit to, as the project goes on, to realize what you've uploaded.
Okay, one thing to think about on the units of measure, a lot of times the unit of measure for the product will not be the same as the unit of measure for the bid item. So for instance, if you have drilled shafts, the unit of measure for the reinforcing steel will probably be in pounds, not in lineal feet like the drilled shaft itself is.
Yep. Thanks, Ken. Does industry have any questions on this? Again, if the certification right now, you guys are getting a certification disapproval email. You know, it may be coming in the future with the actual reason from the comment. That's where we would ask the developer to take it from, is the comment. So the YDOT field people should be using the comment if this is if the certification's rejected. That way you're aware of what's happening. If they're not using the tool correctly, if you're not getting a reason. So our development has kind of slowed down. They're currently working on shop drawings, and it's taken a little longer than expected. So, you know, we'd like to say, heck yeah, we can get on that and have it available tomorrow. But the reality is we're probably a year at least out, and depending on what moves up or down in the important.
I have a question about the QPL.
Okay.
As far as a QPL, if you enter a QPL number, it won't generate a report to anybody because you're not uploading a document. So as far as I've understood, you still have to put a cert in there to attach to the QPL, but doesn't that defeat the purpose of a QPL?
No. So are you saying that YDOT says they don't get a notification if you put in just a number?
If I were just to put in a number, it doesn't generate anything because I really didn't do anything with it besides enter that number in. So yes, it doesn't generate a report when you just put a QPL number in. So I've been having to attach documents for the certification of the product, even though they're already on the QPL list.
Okay, so what you're describing, I'm just going to run through and check it. The intention is that the notification should be there, so you shouldn't have to upload the document. So I'm going to go through here real quick and just double check. And then if it is not working, we can, or if you continue to see issues, we'll get those fixed, because the intent is that the QPL number is all you need.
Oh, I can't remember. I can look and see which ones were crown. The one thing I wanted to note too is all of the projects aren't necessarily set up the same with the material certifications. Some of them I can upload multiple certs on, but some of them don't have that set up in there, so you have to go to the individual item and upload them. Why isn't everything more uniform?
Can you let us know which project and we'll look at it? It's supposed to be uniform and consistent. So if we have a specific example, we can get to the bottom of it. So here, I should be able to and save. So, and then you're going to look at a report.
So let's go to
Yeah, I just got to put a different number so I can recognize it. So 1221. I'm going to rerun that report. So there's the 1221. It's only one time a day though, right? And we only receive a notification one time a day. We'll be talking so we can follow up with you.
Emily with Keyhole Technologies.
Emily, okay.
One of the projects specifically is our Camaro PAL project.
Okay.
Number N121111 doesn't have any material stuff set up in it at all.
Oh, okay. So the reason behind that is this was a requirement starting fiscal year 2020. So projects that were prior to that, if it wasn't requested,
that way,
will not be set up that way.
I just put the first one on the list.
It's somewhere.
So they'll transition out.
So any of the new ones per se will have this in it, but the old ones are just going to kind of, as they finish, phase out.
Yeah, so kind of like the late 2019, we asked for, so it would have been the prime contractor that would have volunteered for the certification, volunteer to participate in the pilot, I guess. And for this particular project, it doesn't look like it was requested, so the certifications are being uploaded the old way.
Okay.
So there's the difference there. Let us verify the QPL number. Show there may not be a notification, but it will be there. We'll verify the notification. I'll show you that it's, our inspectors would be able to see that QPL. Okay. But yeah, the certification is there. So we'll verify the email notification that it goes to the RE office, and we'll get it fixed if that's not the case. So the idea is you shouldn't have to upload a document, just the QPL number. So we'll reach out to you and verify that. Okay, Emily?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep. Does anybody else have any other questions? as pertains to certifications? Okay, so we can move on to payrolls. First and foremost, we were asked if YDOT has a checklist. We do. I will show that to you all. This is another one that's available on the website. I'll email this one to you as well, Katie, so you can send it out.
Sounds good, Wes.
Okay. Charlie did verify that he just did receive a certification email about that project, the QPL. So Emily, just upload the QPL number and select save, and we'll get it on our end. So since this is the form we use, we keep it under our construction manual forms, and it's called our E138. It's a payroll check sheet. So this is just basic form instructions. What our field personnel do is, this form isn't required on every payroll. It's kind of a, we would recommend it for beginning people that are approving payrolls. It's kind of a helpful tool if you're not familiar, if you haven't been doing payrolls for 30 years. So this is kind of what's required as they go down. So project number, consecutively numbered, payroll period, kind of all our generic information on if they're going to go down a checklist, that's what we're looking for. Lisa, do you have anything to add on this particular form or what we're looking for when it comes to payrolls?
Nothing really to add, just that it used to be a requirement that we attach that form to every single payroll that we checked, and we've changed that obviously because we're in an electronic system now. But this was just a tool developed for our field personnel, just so that they could verify and let the contractor know if they were missing anything specifically. So that's probably it.
Okay, so you guys will have this. You can send it out to your subs, and they can. It's a pretty quick form. You can go down, make sure everything appears to be correct, and it'll help on a lot of errors because, this is what our people go through and check when they're new, and they'll verify, pull it out on a couple of projects, and upload it. So, any questions there? The next question we have is, if there's an owner-operator with no employees, what are the payroll requirements? So payrolls are required, and they are required weekly. Do you have anything to add there, Lisa?
And you had just cut out on my part. You had said payrolls were required. Was that what you said?
Yes, is that correct for owners?
Yes. So, well, if it's an owner operator, we need a copy of the subcontract agreement. And essentially they can be paid whatever they want, but we need a copy of that agreement in order to not have to pay payrolls. And that would only work on the actual owner operator. Yeah,
I don't think this pertains to the lease agreement. This would be, say, like a small fencing company where it's family-owned business with, they're the owner and the only worker. So it would be safe to say that payrolls are required, and they are required weekly. So they don't have to meet the wage requirements. Is that correct, Lisa, on what they pay themselves if they're the owner?
Right. But so the only way to use that as an issue is if you have a lease agreement. So the only way that we cannot pay prevailing wages with an owner operator is if we have a copy of the lease agreement. If we don't have a lease agreement and it's just their own truck, they have to be paid prevailing wage, but you're asking a yes or no question, and there's a lot of details that kind of come into this conversation of like what materials are being hauled where, who's driving the truck, who owns the truck. So there's a lot of details. It's not just like a blanket answer. I know that's what you want, but unless I'm misunderstanding the question you're asking.
I was talking more. I thought this example was due to like not a trucking company, more of like a small like people with an actual subcontract that are on a project where it's family
Like a
owned and operator.
Like if
So
it was
payrolls
a-
would. Sorry, I stepped on you.
No, you're fine. So if it's a formal subcontract, regardless, we have to have payrolls. If it's
Okay.
a purchase order where they're just like dropping off materials and it's a PO and it's not a subcontract, then we wouldn't need payrolls.
Okay. So if they are a subcontracted company, this checklist would apply. So just make sure you're following this checklist when they are an official subcontract on the project.
Correct.
Okay.
So people are chatting. So when the quantity of material is different than the 268, if the subcontract isn't for an owner operator, then why are payrolls required? Also, with owner operator, I was told that they have to list their hours and then was told to take off their hours on the other job. What all is required on the form itself when only owners are working on the project.
I've missed a lot of the chat questions, so let's go back to the chat. Lisa, you read that, correct? So we'll start at the top. I apologize. I haven't been opening the chat screen, so. Okay, so Serena will send you that, and Corey. I guess Katie will send that document to everybody. So when the quantity of material is different than the bid item, does the actual T168 have to state the bid item unit of measure, or can it stay as the material unit of measure? So if you have the T168, Serena, and it says 4 rolls of geotextile, we're just looking for the correct conversion. So in iCX, you would put 5,000 square yards of fabric. And it's up to our personnel to make sure that it's converted correctly. You know, same with pure live seed or anything, you know, fertilizer, paint. We ask for it by the foot. You're getting it certified in the gallons, so you don't have to manipulate the T168. You can leave it as 4 rolls. And then, okay, does that answer your question, Serena? Okay, if a subcontract isn't required for an owner-operator, so an owner-operator falls under the lease agreement, a legal lease agreement, so they're essentially being put on your payroll.
That is correct. So the only way that you're not requiring payrolls is if they are like a purchase order that they're just dropping materials off, or the formal lease agreement, which outlines the pay.
So Brian, I think to answer it is to verify that lease agreement, technically that person should show up on your payroll. Is that right, Lisa?
They can, and you can just put that they're owner operator as long as you have a copy of that lease agreement.
Okay, so specifically, no, you wouldn't need a lease agreement or a payroll for that, whatever, Cheyenne Trucking or whatever, if they're on McGarvin Moberly's, if you have a legal lease agreement with them. Also with owner-operator subcontractors, I was told they have to list their hours and then was told to take off the hours on another job. What all is required on the payroll form itself when only owners are working on a job?
You want me to just take this one?
If you don't mind.
Sure. So the hours worked are for that federal project. That's the first part. What is required for the owner operators are that you identify that they're owner operators. But again, the only way that we can use the owner operator caveat is if you have a copy of a formal lease agreement. What we've seen happen is that people will say they're owner operators essentially so that they can just pay them whatever they want. but there's actually not a formal lease agreement in place, which means they need to be paid the prevailing wage regardless. So it's making sure that you have the actual documentation in place, that it is a lease agreement and that they truly are an owner operator person. So you can't have an owner operator that the owner is driving his own truck, but then he owns 4 other trucks. Well, then we have a subcontract agreement with a company.
I apologize that all the field offices, I feel you're paying for each field office having their own set of rules, or please call our office or, Lisa, if you want to, get to a bottom of the issue, and we can get all parties together and then we can get it ironed out. So you're not switching back and forth, and, we can all get together and get it worked out.
And Brian, you are correct on that next question. But again, you have to have a copy of that formal lease agreement. And we would have to have a way to verify that. So I know historically they would say just on the payroll, they would put the truck driver's name or the company and then say owner operator, just so that we had documentation that that person was on the job site, unless you want to turn in copies of the lease agreement.
Are you guys providing legal lease agreements to the field office? Are they asking for them?
In my reviews, just what I've come up or what I've found is that they would write that on the payroll, but we weren't getting copies of the formal lease agreements unless we questioned it. So we need to make sure that we as YDOT are asking for that information up front.
Okay. We have a no work week question. I just want to let everybody know we are going to be modifying the system. I don't know the completion date, but near future, it's next on the agenda. So right now we have our payroll. So currently, it does say in the payroll instructions, but this is very critical. For the time being, our reporting capabilities are based off this date right here. So oftentimes, it defaults to today's date. Make sure you put the week ending payroll date. That way our report works correctly. In the future, 6 months, I don't know. We hope sooner. It's going to say payroll begin work week and payroll end work week. There'll be 2 columns. So you put the begin date, the end date, your description. You're going to number it consecutively. And then we're going to have a column that there's a toggle for no work week. So that'll account for, your submitting payrolls on a no work week. That toggle will take care of that. And that'll add to our reporting capability to make sure payrolls are submitted for each week. As far as it was kind of speculation that YDOT had more reports for payrolls. We don't. I'll log over to our system and see what we have. All we have is the missing payroll week. So, we could definitely add that functionality for you guys. But other than that, we don't have any reporting capabilities. The user had put, you knew about the filter feature, which kind of works, pending approval, if they're rejected, supplemental required. Something else, make sure you highlight the supplemental required and toggle upload supplement up in the top. So I'll come over to our side and kind of show you how the reporting works. So here's our missing payrolls report. And it will run a query to make sure whatever reports we have or missing. That's why the date's so critical, but that's really the only reporting capability we have at this time. Any questions on payrolls?
And we're happy to take suggestions for reporting issues as well. If there's something that you want to report on that we're not doing it, please let us know and we can try and develop something for you guys.
And again, the status notes should be populated. So, you know, I mean, maybe there is, you know, they could query the status notes and get a list. We are going to add feature to allow you to filter by subcontractor. So that should help out as well. So you can query an individual subcontractor and see the status of all their all of their payrolls. Do you want to talk about the 1391-92?
Just that we have changed it to an electronic format this year so that you guys don't have to submit the paper copies for that. If you want to navigate to where it is.
Yeah, so under your menu at the home screen, this is where we run a 1392 report on our end for federal highways. And this is where you'll build your 1391 report. And it'll list all your contracts. I guess you guys have been doing this on paper in the past, so I assume it's similar to what you've been doing, just an electronic copy, and you'd populate this for each of your contracts that you worked on. And then Lisa can run her 1392 report and run it. It'll be submitted to federal highways.
Correct. Yeah. So this is completed for the last full pay period ending in July. And then it needs to be completed by all of the primes and the subcontractors on that project. And then we forward the final report to FHWA at the end of September, but they are supposed to be completed no later than August 15th. And then we'll run a report to see which ones we're missing after that date and try and send out notifications on the ones that we need completed. Are there any questions on the 1391?
As far as the missing payroll report, Serena, we can duplicate our new report over to your side when we submit that. It'll be
well, the new report will do a comparison to our.
Yeah, so we can, when we submit that to the developer, we'll include that to iCX. Does anybody else have any other questions that we haven't talked about or any other issues? That's all we have. If we can stay on the line for a couple more minutes and see if anything comes through. So here's a question from Casey. Do we have to upload no work week payrolls? Yes, at this time. Is that correct, Lisa?
Yes, correct. Until we get the toggle box developed so that they can just check that box for no work weeks.
So the toggle will be coming, hopefully, hopefully it's sooner than 6 months, but that's the only way we can verify the no work weeks, and those should be consecutively numbered. So currently there's a drop down for temporary materials. I'll pull it up so you guys are aware of it. So here, the resident can override and select temporary, and no certs would be required. I'll show you in the spec book where we have that verbiage. So here we have this. It says the engineer may approve the use of manufactured materials delivered to the site without the required certifications by using engineer's verification if the use is temporary and the contractor retains ownership. So that's the answer to the burlap. This has been talked about with Milburn in the lab about the admixtures may be submitted with the certifications for the admixtures may be certified at the time of the mix design, and the mix design would constitute approval of all the materials. That's been discussed. It just hasn't made it through yet. So that's where they're at on the certifications. Hopefully the best bet is the QPL list that the admixtures will be on there, so you can put in a number and move on. I guess they just want to make sure that those are currently certified and on the QPL list, or certification if they're not on the QPL list. Any other questions? I'll submit those 2 documents. I'll send those over to you, Katie, after the meeting, and then yeah, if anybody else has any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to give us a call or Lisa's group, and hopefully we can help you out, get anything resolved ahead of time.
My guess, Wes, is probably be too large of a document to email out, so you may have to post it on your end and then just send me the link. And then I can send that out with the documents. We do appreciate you recording it because I know we had a number of individuals that weren't able to participate today. And we also do appreciate your time and going over some of the concerns and questions industry has. So we really do appreciate you guys' willingness to do this for us. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to come talk with us. Let us know any concerns you have, or, you know, if you guys have any ideas for iCX that'll make your job easier, let us know, because we don't, you know, they're 2 different systems. We don't necessarily see the exact side that you guys work from all the time. So be sure to let us know, like the reporting, we can definitely do that, get it copied over to your side.
Well, it doesn't sound like we have any more questions, so we can go ahead and wrap it up, Wes. And again, thank you guys very much for your time this morning.
All right. Thank you, Katie. Bye.